So females have to be very clear. Rest, I would say there's no worry or there shouldn't be a concern whether as a woman you can reach a leadership level or not. There are enough opportunities out there, and luckily today we are in a phase where people value your work and capability more than your gender. So invest really well and just be out there.
So first and foremost, I warmly welcome you onto the season 2 of the Women's Stories.
I'm really happy to be here.
What role and responsibilities do you undertake on a normal day at CIGNEX?
So CIGNEX and Datamatics group, at least with the entire group, I would say I'm associated for last 16 plus years. With CIGNEX particularly for last 7 years. When I started, I was just taking care of HR. Now, if I talk about today, I take care of strategic part of HR, IT, travel, admin, and RFG. So these are the 5 functions I take care of.
Yeah, that's a lot on your plate. So coming from a non-tech background, I found the business model of CIGNEX a bit complicated because there are a lot of things that your company is doing. So can you please unveil its model, its business model and its services in a simple language that everyone could understand?
So I think because of pandemic, everybody knows that the reliance on virtual world is too much, right? And suddenly we started talking about RPA, which is robotic process automation, or cloud-based services, or AI, ML, big data, content management. Not everybody used to talk about these things so frequently earlier. So this is what we exactly do. We provide platform services and people experts to make business more efficient and effective. So primarily we are into open source. It's more of a licensing agreement where we allow users to take our services and mold and change it in a way that fits their business and it can integrate really well. So all these websites you see, if at all you log into a page or a web page of any group, and the simplicity or the user friendly autotype that you see on that page, that's enabled, that's the kind of work that we do. So simplest form would be to provide service and platform which will make the business more efficient and effective, and for the end user much more user friendly and understandable.
Great. So I'm sure that your business would have faced a surge in the pandemic. So if I would like to know, like, what exactly, how your business got affected during the pandemic?
Not much, Kushi, because if at all I talk in terms of business purely, did we get any impact in a negative manner? No, because we are into IT services and obviously open source. Earlier also we were in the same model where we were interacting with clients and working with them. So work-wise, there was no impact. But suddenly there was a shift, right? The way of work changed. So everybody used to come to office. We did not have work from home as a set format. And within a day or two, we had to move everybody, and every individual, the phase was difficult. So everybody took their own time to get back to the normal stage and, restart from where we actually were 3 to 4 months back. So that was the only difference. But because of this challenging phase or pandemic, in terms of business, we didn't face any challenge as such.
Okay, that's great to hear. And because in my family, a lot of my cousin sisters are into IT sectors. So yeah, they were like happy.
Yeah. And a lot of IT organizations where people said, suddenly we have lost these projects and we will have to release people. And there was job insecurity. People were worried about it because obviously business was not doing well. We had few pockets where we also lost a couple of clients. But instead of releasing people, we immediately started cross-training them. We put them on some other project. We gave them a training period. And we told them that if the need is such that you need to immediately adapt to a new phase, get yourself trained and start moving. And that's what most of our employees did. And luckily, like your cousins and family members, our employees were also satisfied and happy that fine, at least we are not going anywhere. There's no security threat as such.
Okay. So how has the tech phase of CIGNEX evolved in the last 5 years?
I think we have stayed where we were in terms of the offerings that we had. But in last 4 or 5 years, I would say, because of the ask of the market or the client or the need of the time, we have become more relevant and adaptable in nature. So relevant when I say, as I, in the first question itself, we were talking about RPA, AI, ML. We were also working on those, but the pace was not that high, right? So, but now, because that's the need of the market as on today, that's the need of the people. So immediately we shifted. We shifted to a phase where we know that how critical it is, and how much more we have to invest in this in terms of technology and people. So we became more relevant. When I see the basic or fundamental level, open source, that's where we were 5 years back, that's where we are today. But a lot of things, the approach has changed. We are more adaptable. Earlier we used to say that this is the product, and now we say we have the same product, but we have subgroups. So in one particular, like to give a simpler example, I would say you have 26 alphabets, and earlier we used to say that this is it, you have to take the complete kitty. Now we say that the package still has A to Z, all those 26 modules. But if at this point in time your need is only A to G, take it. If you also need Y and Z, take it. But only what is needed by your organization to ensure that there's effectiveness and you're able to manage the work that you have identified, only go by that. So we have really moved from generic to more personalized approach. So those are the two major differences I have witnessed. One is being more relevant, and second one is adaptable, or I would say more personalized.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as it is said that the customers do have a lot of choices. So you can say exploitation, or you can say it's just they are at least on the benefit side. They are on the win-win side, the customers.
Absolutely.
So how upcoming youngsters will experience technology with virtual reality coming into buzz, and we can see IoT, and we can also see automatic homes being implemented outside India. So how do you think India and specifically youngsters would face this virtual reality?
I think virtual reality is all about technology, and when we talk about youngsters, they have been experts. That's one pocket where you actually didn't have to push them to learn technology. There were other sectors or other pockets, I would say, in the organization when people were still not very comfortable with technology. They were like, oh, policy, give me a printout and I'll probably mark where all we have to change. If at all there's a meeting, why don't we just come face to face and have a discussion? We are hiring somebody senior, oh, the final round has to be face to face. We just can't close it on a Zoom call or any other platform. Wherein when you talk about youngsters, there was more acceptance. There was no I would say blockage in the mind, where you would say that the person who is sitting on the other side, I cannot trust that individual. Why? Because it's virtual. So that initial issue was never with the youngsters, because they have seen this, they have grown up with this. So, and when we talk about other sections, again, I'll go back to pandemic or the COVID-19 phase, where everybody has tasted it during lockdown time, that this is the only possible way to connect, work, collaborate, anything and everything that you want to do with the other person, it's online. Either they are with you in your home, if at all they are outside, you can't even step out, you have to connect. So the reliance on technology suddenly increased. Youngsters were already prepared much better than us, and the same phase will remain for them in the coming future as well. As you said, smart homes, when you will tell a 90-year-old about the smart home, they'll say, oh, how it functions. When you'll tell the youngster, they'll say, so what's the big deal about it? Because that's the gap and that's the understanding. But I'm sure by 2025 or maybe much sooner, anybody and everybody, I think the research has also projected that by 2025 or 24, 40 to 50% of the houses will be smart houses. So just imagine the level of acceptance by everybody. So our world, every individual, I think, is well prepared. They know that the future is technology, and probably other than the human beings, anything else that is existing in and around us is going to be robotic and driven by technology.
That's quite fascinating. Let's see what the future beholds for us.
Yeah.
So how do you remain updated with the latest tech and HR trends? Will you recommend some resources specific to the same?
So there's no one key answer that I would be able to give, but I think to stay updated, to know what's going around, you need to observe, you need to do some research, you need to read a lot, talk to people who are in different fields or in similar fields, talk to experts, see what other companies are doing and what are the hits and misses, and will that model fit in your company as well, or do you need to do some tweaking and you also need to change as per the time, or should you just wait for a little longer and see whether this change is really required? participate in different forums, understand from people around the world what they're talking about, whether it's geographically impacting or the behavior or the location or the way of work. Now, there are a lot of things. Everybody, if you, I'm sure when you interact with people, a lot of people would say we are going towards hybrid system. Tomorrow, definitely hybrid will be the 100% adaptation. But what percentage of hybrid? When we say hybrid, I mean, 100% of your people will be 50% of their time in office and 50% at home, 70-30, 20-80. What will be the team composition? When you talk about technology, when you talk about people, there's no surety. And the trend is getting defined every single day. When pandemic started, we all started using the word new normal. But for how long that new actually remained as new? There was a next normal every single day. So then we realized that there's no new normal, but there's next new normal every day, which is coming up because of the changing situations. So trends will keep changing. You cannot stop and you can't say that, yes, I have found the solution or this is the source of right information. You just have to keep exploring. You have to keep researching. You have to literally keep your eyes open and see what's happening in and around you and take only those things in your bucket, which is needed. Again, I would use the word relevant because as you rightly pointed out, there are so many options available. Do you really need all of it, or you just want one or two? And that's something, the right mix has to be defined by the organization, and that will purely be on testing and trial mode.
Yeah, that sounds complicated, but we'll go through it. I mean, yeah, if we have come this long during the, just facing this whole pandemic thing, then again, of course, we'll also eventually go through this change.
True. Yeah.
So what is your ideal process of creating an yearly report to ponder upon the company stats?
I think those were the years when you used to create annual reports. Now we talk about, real time. So annual report will definitely show you what we did and will give you inputs to probably refer and ponder for years to come or for the coming years, which is absolutely fine because that's what we have to see, our past performance, so we can literally define what are the changes needed for the years to come. But today, everything is real time. The pace, again, I would say the pace at which things are changing, we just can't afford to sit and wait for annual statistics, right? Be it people analytics or culture related, business related, process related, it has to be assessed more frequently or as frequently as possible. So, because it's more like you're driving a car and you have to change gear as and when needed. And you just can't say that, this is where I'll reach and then I'll do the changes with every single phase, because a lot of things are moving, close to you, next to you, and you don't have any control on it. But what you can actually do is you can just control your car and you immediately have to make those shifts. So in my opinion, at least, I know that the statistics or the study has to be more frequent. Obviously, the presentation of or the collation of the entire thing is the annual report, but that's just the presentation. If you have to use these statistics and you have to work on it, you cannot rely on annual report. Same as, a lot of organization, if you talk to HR people, they'll say earlier we used to do annual employee satisfaction survey. Now it's daily. Every day HR will open their system and they'll say, oh, okay, so as per the smartwatch that their employees are wearing or the software that they have installed in their system, where they have to key in the mood for the day, it will show that 67% of the employees are happy and remaining are a little worried or stressed out, and they immediately start working on the remaining part, that what is the issue. So I think if at all we have to effectively work and do something about these statistics, it has to be a real time, not on annual basis.
Okay, I'm not sure. Like I haven't seen these watches in India. So how do HR predict the moods and stuff, everything on a daily basis, especially on Indian employees?
So that's why I said, so these smartwatches are there. So your heartbeats and all these things, if you see the regular watches also they capture. And when you attach it to a software, it will show whether you are stressed out or you are not. Because even in your regular watch, which are very much in India, the stress level shows whether you are in between or you are too much stressed out or you are normal. So those things are used by HR people here as well. But more than that, people who are still not, and not most of the organization, they have not shown reliance on the smartwatches. They have these, digital platforms for employees, which is engagement platforms, where before they start working every day, either at a, some interval or the start of the day, end of the day, they ask few questions, which is not very monotonous or serious kind of a thing. But those are just plugins. You have those three, four smileys, like you must have witnessed those at the customer care desks. Are you happy? Are you sad? How was your day? So with those things, it hardly takes 2 seconds for the employees, but at least the management or HR gets a feel of how the employees are feeling today or what is bothering them.
Got it. Got it. I totally enjoy sometimes doing those surveys in malls because it's like kind of a game for me.
I'm sure a lot of HR people would also say, oh, so today the percentage is 70%. They would say, oh, finally, thankfully, more than 50% people are for some reason happy. And I'm sure Fridays are one of those days where 80% people will say, oh, yeah, we're very much happy.
So, where do you want to take CIGNEX in the next 5 years?
See, we are business enablers. We at least my profile is more about enabling delivery. But frankly speaking, I don't know the phase that we have been through and what we have seen in the last 1.5 years. It has really become difficult to tell where actually we will be after 5 months or 6 months. Forget about 5 years. So I don't know where we will actually be after 5 years. And technology will definitely play a humongous role. I know it will enable or empower the entire system in a much better fashion than it has already done. Imagine we were talking about interesting stuff, and technology has helped us to that extent where we say that we'll soon be talking about space travel, right? Where it'll be so much usual for every individual or all the people. So if technology can take us that far, literally, imagine where the organizations will go in next 5 years. But with respect to CIGNEX, I think our focus or intent would remain same for next 5 years, which is be super passionate about the way we contribute to the society and to the people or client. Stay focused and super sensible on our employee well-being part. Stay future ready by staying relevant. When I say staying relevant, training and ensuring that our resources are cross-trained and they are ready with the required skill set for future. And the last one, the fourth one, which is something which we will definitely stick to: stay authentic in all your aspects, whatever you do as a company or as an employer. So that's what is fixed.
Mhm.
Where we will go in terms of technology or as an IT company, that probably time will tell.
Yeah, I guess that's something to take from this recording, that you stay focused on your values and the process that you will be following, and just be have open ear and stay abreast with the changes in the environment around you.
Yeah.
So you have been working with this organization for last 15 years, and I also watched your that talk where you say why it is important to find reasons of sticking with an organization for so long, rather than just thinking about why I have to leave it. So you have an enormous, rigorous this corporate experience. So what advice would you like to give to young workforce entering the corporate world who are so anxious and always willing to move ahead in life?
So I think when I started my career, I thought that the company will define my future, or the trend will define my future. So I was very worried if I'm doing right by going into HR. And when I actually entered, I was still very confused whether recruitment will be a good start or should I go for a generalist role. So I think when we start, we are worried about a lot of things because we don't know what's actually there on the other side. And can we do much about it? Not really, because somewhere you have to start. You can't say that, oh, okay, so that's my day one in the organization, and you want, you know what, I want to explore everything because I'm good at everything. Let me start doing bit of all the functions, and then I'll decide. Nobody will give you that option. So you have to really make up your mind. You have to understand what's your capability, what's your limitation, where you will be able to contribute really well, because it's really about how you exist in the organization. No matter how great we are, but if we are not able to do what we've been hired for, nobody will appreciate, and there will be a time when you will start getting frustrated, and at the same time organization will also not value your presence. So my suggestion would be invest really well in yourself. The time is changing, everything is changing. Ours was a time when we knew that specialization in one particular course will get us a job. Today the expectation is much more. People want employees who can multitask, but at the same time who can be plugged anywhere when needed. So when you are part of HR, others will expect that you can really take care of all the roles if needed. A little training can be given, but you should be open to that. So invest really well in yourself. Be prepared that things are changing and you will have to change. Second would be keep learning new skills. Never think that I'm an expert. I keep quoting this example that someday somebody would have thought that, you know what, I started with typing 10 letters in a typewriter and today I can type 1,000 letters in 1 minute using a typewriter. Problem is that typewriters don't exist. So you have become an expert, but if it's not relevant, it's not going to help. So you need to keep learning new skills as per the need of the time, stay relevant. And last, I would say, no matter where you land, always value your time and people around you. Because if we are able to take care of these two things, trust me, rest of the things will, I would not say fall in place, but they will be placed in place. So yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, I've recently joined a job and I'll end my probation period tomorrow. So it was like a reality talk for me.
So nice. All the very best, Kushi, for your. I'm sure you will get confirmed, but have a wonderful time ahead.
Yeah. And lastly, what advice would you like to give to women willing to be in leadership opportunities?
So when I get this question, when it is more women centric, it always bothers me a little because earlier when we used to look at the statistics, which always proved that females, very few females reach that level, but and people have been talking about biasness and there's zero acceptance or people are still not comfortable with finding females at that level. At least I have not witnessed that, and I have always requested everybody that don't generalize because it's actually not about it, and it's much more than that. Couple of things, what value you bring onto the table doesn't matter whether it's a female or a male. Your commitment towards your job, your capability, the skills that you carry, more than being a female or a male, your willingness to perform and excel. I think these are a couple of things that would matter most. And if we give our 100%, I'm not talking about 101 or 110% because uh, that's a height that we have created. Nobody can give beyond 100%. But if you are focused and committed, you are very clear. A lot of people would say females would have a lot of responsibilities at home, but when you talk to management, when you talk to organization, why don't you clearly say that, what, this is what I can offer? Once we make the commitment and then we start going back, today I'll not be able to come because I have this thing. For next 15 days I need leave because this. So if we are very clear where we are, where we want to be, what are the limitations, probably we will get a role that suits our need as well. So females have to be very clear. Rest, I would say, there's no worry or there shouldn't be a concern whether as a woman you can reach a leadership level or not. There are enough opportunities out there, and luckily today we are in a phase where people value your work and capability more than your gender. So invest really well and just be out there.
Yeah, that was an empowering ending to this talk. And I hope that you thoroughly enjoyed this conversation and I also hope that you didn't find the questions vague because I was like kind of unable to understand your job profile because you were doing a lot of things together. So
I thoroughly enjoyed, and I really admire people who start really early and they explore a lot of things parallelly. They not just go in a defined conventional way, and I'm really happy. And in a way, I don't know you really well, but feel proud to be connected with you and really happy.
Thank you. And thanks a lot for giving your time. Now you may continue with your work and I'll keep updated. I'll stay healthy and take care of yourself.
You do all the very best. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.